Hello and welcome to Investigating Iowa. My name is Sarah. I am so excited to have you back on the platform this week because we are doing a mystery week here where we are doing 5 different cases of our neighbors, and that will be spread out from Sunday through Wednesday and then again on Friday. I already know what you're thinking. What about Thursday? But we have Born and Raised series coming out on Thursday. It is a podcast series. There is some video depending on what platform you are on, but I'm so excited to come out with it because we have Sydney Swanson coming on to talk about sororities and fraternities on our college campuses. She has a really great insight on some of the controversies happening right now with those groups, so please tune in for that. As always, I want to just say I don't mean any disrespect to any of the family members or the people I'm talking about. This is all just information I'm finding through articles, through videos, through case files, all online. I'm just gathering it together, putting it in a video so I can inform more people about the case and maybe hopefully help any investigations along. I did get to speak partially with some of the family members of Kay and Bill Wood. I can't imagine what they're going through. It really hit home for me to hear some of these things firsthand of just their emotions and what they're feeling, and my heart goes out to them, and I can't even imagine after reading and researching this case something like that happening to my loved one. Before I get into the case, I do want to talk about Bill and Kay and their relationship, and it just seems like something to aspire to. They had been married for 3 years. They got married in 2008, and they decided to live in Bill's farm home out in Warren County, kind of outside of the Norwalk area. They were described to be like 2 teenagers in love. They held hands. They were very young at heart. They had a lot of the same passions, which we'll kind of get into. Bill was a retired iron worker and had actually decided to go back to work at J.W. Perry Inc. And Kay worked at the Dolls grocery store, but they both had this huge passion for antiques. Kay collected China dolls, and Bill had this love for kind of cars and automobiles. He had a Model A Ford that he had all done up and ready to go to drive in parades, which I think is so fun. And then he also had a 1940s gas pump in his front yard. So on July 30th, 2011, they actually went to an auction in Stuart, Iowa. And there was a lot of things at this auction, a lot of high-priced items at this auction. There were precious jewels, there was pricey furniture, there was antique guns, there was all sorts of things. But we do know that they did attend this, and that was the last time they were seen alive. On the night of July 30th, there was a mysterious fire that started at Bill and Kay's farm home outside of Norwalk, and there was actually 5 different fire departments that reported to this fire, and they were able to extinguish it, but they couldn't immediately find Bill or Kay anywhere. On Sunday, July 31st, Bill and Kay's red 2009 Chevy Silverado pickup was found in Kansas City, Missouri, which is about 200 miles south of Norwalk. Witnesses say they saw the man who was with the pickup and described him as in his late 40s to early 60s with a slender build, short gray hair, and a 6'2" to 6'6" height. That same day, officials were going through all the rubble of the family home, and they did find a charred body. The body was burnt so bad that they couldn't identify it, and they actually had to send it in for DNA testing to find out who it was. Meanwhile, the fire was deemed as suspicious, and investigators started interviewing family and friends and neighbors and town members. On Friday, August 9th, the results came back from the DNA test of the body. It was confirmed to be Bill's body, and they actually found out that the cause of death was not from the house burning. It was actually from gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds. And the first report had said that there were gunshot wounds to the head, but in later reports it confirmed that there were no gunshot wounds to the head, and it was just multiple gunshot wounds to the rest of his body. Family members were interviewed by KCCI, in which they talked about the heartbreak over the disappearance of Kay and the fact that Bill was murdered. It's not only the fact that he was dead, but that he had been murdered. Somebody had purposely done this to him. Kay's daughter was quoted by saying, "I think in our hearts we hope that they were together just because you want that. If they're going to go, you want them to be together."
I think that that's the part that really drives the pain and the anxieties, is not knowing.
Lisa Harris hopes one day her beloved mother will return.
It's faith, it's family, it's friends, it's the drive to do what it takes to bring this to as close of a close as we can. She deserves it. William deserves it.
In the weeks following, a lot of the family members had questions, and rightfully so, but a lot of the questions were around why. Why were Kay and Bill targeted, and why was Bill murdered? And actually his brother and multiple other family members wondered if it was a robbery. They wondered if somebody had seen him at the Stewart auction and saw the things that he was bidding on, or his activity there, and saw that maybe he would be a good person to rob or something along those lines, and that it just took an even worse turn and that Bill was murdered for it. On October 10th, the family came forward saying that they had started a reward fund for any information anybody could give that would lead to a break in the case.
Whoever did this is looking over their shoulder every minute of every day. At some point, they're going to slip up. They're going to say something to someone. They're going to try to sell something they stole from his house or something.
We've heard nothing. It's my understanding that leads continue to come in, which is good, but we need the lead, or they need the lead, to really break this open. Come forward and tell us what you know.
And that's all I have on the case. I really am really saddened by the fact that there's not more information, that they haven't had any more leads, or that I could find at least on this case. My heart just goes out to this family, because it doesn't matter if it's 8 days, 8 months, 8 years, 80 years. It doesn't matter. You deserve answers. And that's why I'm going to put on the Warren County Sheriff's Office phone number, because if you know anything, please come forward. This family deserves answers. But I also ask you be respectful in the comment section, because again, this is somebody's family member, this is somebody's loved one, and they deserve respect when we are talking about them. I hope you join us for the rest of this week's Mystery Week. I have a lot of other cases that are so important to bring up, and they might not be very long cases, they might not have a lot of information, but they deserve to be talked about, because a lot of these cases haven't been talked about in years. And so please stay tuned for that, and also come back on Thursday for the Born and Raised series. We're going to be talking about Greek affairs, so we'll see you then.